Have you ever met someone who seemed to go through life as if they were following a script, repeating the same actions and words with no real sense of individuality? What if we're all just players in a simulation, surrounded by non-playable characters, or NPCs, people who move through life without conscious thought, just there to interact with us in the background? It's a fascinating idea, and one that's become more popular in recent years thanks to gaming, philosophy, and even science fiction. But is it possible that we live in a world filled with NPCs? And if so, how would we even know? Let's explore this strange theory together. Are we living in a world where some people may not be as real as we think? Could it be that, just like in video games, some individuals don't have an internal narrative or only exist to serve a role in our reality? Today, we'll dive deep into what NPCs are, whether they exist in real life, and how this idea could change the way we perceive the world around us. Non-playable characters, or NPCs, are a staple in video games. These are characters that players can interact with, but don't have the freedom of action or thought that the player does. NPCs are programmed to follow a set pattern of behavior and provide certain functions within the game, like giving quests, providing items, or simply filling out the world. They are crucial for making the game feel alive, but they exist primarily to serve the player's experience. Now imagine taking that concept and applying it to our own lives. In recent years, the idea that some people might be functioning like NPCs in our world has gained traction. But what exactly do we mean by NPCs when it comes to real life? Do we mean that some people are less conscious, less self-aware, or that their lives are simply being lived on autopilot? The idea is far from new. Philosophers have debated the nature of consciousness and reality for centuries. Descartes famously asked, "How do I know that the world I perceive is real and not just a dream?" Today, the NPC concept is being used in a more playful and speculative context, gaining popularity in internet culture, memes, and even in discussions around artificial intelligence. But it raises important questions about autonomy, free will, and the nature of existence. As we dive into this subject, we'll explore the origins of the NPC concept, its cultural impact, and whether there's any truth to the idea that some people are living their lives in a way that resembles these scripted game characters. What does it mean to be truly real? And could our understanding of reality be different from what we've always assumed? As we begin to explore the possibility of NPCs existing in our reality, we face several challenges. First, we have to ask ourselves, how would we even identify an NPC in the real world? In video games, NPCs are easy to spot. They have limited responses, lack self-awareness, and often perform repetitive actions. But in the real world, this is far from obvious. People don't usually walk around with labels on their foreheads that say, "I'm just a background character." The challenge then becomes philosophical. If NPCs are defined by their lack of autonomy and awareness, how can we differentiate them from people who are simply going through the motions of daily life? Are people who live in routines and habits NPCs? Or are they simply human beings with limited perspective or experience? Is it possible that some people are simply stuck in a loop with little awareness of the world around them? Another significant challenge comes from the concept of consciousness itself. What does it mean to be conscious or self-aware? Modern science has shown that the human brain is incredibly complex, and our perception of reality is influenced by a host of factors, from genetics to environment to personal experience. So what if these NPCs are simply people whose brains and behaviors are wired differently? Or are we all, in a sense, NPCs, bound by our biology and environments to act in ways that seem preordained? There's also the matter of technology. As AI and machine learning continue to advance, the line between human and machine becomes increasingly blurry. Could the rise of highly sophisticated AI be forcing us to reconsider our assumptions about who or what is conscious? If machines can be programmed to mimic human thought and behavior, could it be that some people, whether due to neurological conditions, societal conditioning, or something else, are essentially living as sophisticated automatons, repeating patterns without ever questioning their existence? These are the questions we need to grapple with as we continue to explore the concept of NPCs in our reality. To understand the idea of NPCs in real life, we must look at the broader context of human behavior. We all go through routines: wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. In fact, many of us live our lives with little deviation from our daily habits. It's easy to imagine that someone could go through the motions of life without ever stopping to reflect on the deeper questions of existence. This is where the NPC analogy starts to make sense. In many ways, this behavior is a defense mechanism. Humans, like other animals, are creatures of habit. Our brains are wired to conserve energy by following established patterns. These routines make life more predictable and manageable, allowing us to focus on the immediate tasks at hand. But what happens when a person's routine becomes so automatic that they no longer question their purpose or choices? Could they be functioning like an NPC, simply reacting to stimuli without any true understanding of their environment or the larger world? On a cultural level, the NPC concept speaks to a broader concern about the loss of individuality in an increasingly automated world. With the rise of social media, algorithm-driven content, and corporate culture, it can feel like we're all following a script. Our behaviors and thoughts are influenced by external forces, whether it's the content we consume, the social pressures we face, or the systems that govern our lives. This raises the question, are we all NPCs in some sense? Are we simply playing a part in a larger system, with our choices and actions determined by forces beyond our control? However, it's also important to recognize the counter-argument. Humans have an immense capacity for self-reflection, creativity, and change. Our consciousness allows us to break free from the programming that seems to govern our behavior. It's not always easy, but we have the ability to step outside of the script and create new narratives for ourselves. Perhaps the real question is whether we're willing to take control of our story or continue to live on autopilot. The breakthrough moment in this exploration comes when we consider the growing role of artificial intelligence and the concept of emergent behavior. AI has reached a point where it can simulate complex human interactions and even generate creative works that appear to be born from a deep sense of self-awareness. Could this mean that, like AI, some people are simply playing out their pre-programmed roles, reacting to stimuli without true autonomy? This idea is compelling, especially in the context of how we interact with technology. Think about how many of our decisions are influenced by algorithms, whether it's what to watch on Netflix, what to buy on Amazon, or what to post on social media. In a way, these external forces are shaping our behavior in ways we might not even be aware of, much like how NPCs operate within a game environment. But here's the twist. What if consciousness itself is more fluid than we think? What if, just like an NPC, we're all playing roles in a larger narrative, except that the narrative is constantly evolving, and our awareness of our role can change at any time? This idea challenges the very notion of NPCs as static, mindless beings, suggesting that we may all be part of a much larger, interconnected web of existence where consciousness is not fixed, but evolving and emergent. In conclusion, the question of whether NPCs exist in our reality forces us to confront some fundamental questions about consciousness, free will, and the nature of reality. While it's easy to dismiss the idea of NPCs as a mere thought experiment, it raises important philosophical and cultural concerns. From the routines we follow to the influence of technology, it's clear that our lives are often shaped by forces beyond our control. But that doesn't mean we're merely going through the motions without awareness. Humans have an extraordinary capacity for self-reflection, creativity, and change, which makes us unique in ways that NPCs, if they exist, could never be. Ultimately, the concept of NPCs serves as a reminder to question our lives, to examine our routines, and to ensure that we're living with intention and awareness. It challenges us to break free from the scripts that might be written for us and to take ownership of our own stories. Whether or not NPCs are real, we all have the power to create our own narrative. Now that we've explored the concept of NPCs, we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think there are people in our world who live like NPCs, going through the motions without ever truly questioning their existence? Or do you believe that everyone has the capacity for self-awareness and change, no matter how routine their life may seem? Let us know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We'll be bringing you more content like this. Thank you for watching.